Ambassador, which are the main achievements of Armenia and Brazil during the year of 2015?
Brazil and Armenia have a relation that is still growing. In terms of investment, which is something that we are always asked about, there has not been Brazilian investment in Armenia in any substantial way. I believe, again, that there is a lot that we could do. Brazil has invested in many countries in areas that are present in the Armenian economy, such as agriculture, mining, several kinds of services, financial services. But again, I have the impression that there has not been a lot of promotion of Armenian investment opportunities for Brazilian exporters, importers, and other companies that could come here and work here. What should we do? That's the question that we should keep in mind. Now, has nothing happened? No, something special happened this year, and I should mention. One of the biggest Brazilian exporting companies, a company that is very active in the mining sector, but also produces some very special industrial components, has started working with Armenian companies. The company is called Magnesita. Magnesita. They started in mining with magnesium. What they are doing in Armenia is a very important thing. They are working with companies that produce steel, that produce cement, or even big energy plants. They produce a kind of brick, special brick that has to be used inside the ovens, for example, where you burn material to make cement. Okay? It's a very specialized kind of product. And it's normally deals of a big value. It's not a small deal. And the good thing about it is also that they don't just sell the product. They come, send their experts, and work with the companies to help improve the way they do their activities. So it's actually not just an export operation, it's more of a partnership that is created between the Brazilian company and the Armenian company. Now, this started this year, 2015, in the middle of all that you can call economic crisis, difficulties. This has happened. I met with the two Armenian companies that are working with this Brazilian company, and I heard from them that they were very impressed. First, this is a company that works in many countries. They are an example of what we could call Brazilian multinational companies. Having them here, to me, is a good promotion opportunity for Brazil. In agriculture, you buy from Brazil chicken meat, pork meat. Now, the two big Brazilian companies in this field were Sadia and Perdigão. You know the name Sadia because that's the name you see here. Actually, these two are working together now. And when they joined in Brazil, they became big, even by world standards. They are now big players around the world, and they are now working together, and they have production in the United States, they have production in Asia. They are now another multinational. To me, the most important change would be contacts. How do you make contacts? You have to come to Brazil. Yes, Brazil is very far, people will tell me. So don't come to Brazil. Go to very important trade fairs in Europe, in Germany, in Italy, in France, in agriculture, in industry. Look if there are not Brazilian companies there. Probably they will be there in many cases because that's how they operate. So you can come to Europe to meet them. There are Brazilian companies with offices in Dubai, with offices in the Middle East, and also in Moscow. We have a lot of Brazilian companies working in Russia. So maybe you can meet the Brazilian companies in Dubai or in Moscow. You don't have to go to Brazil. So I think, of course, what is lacking is some decision. Let's try to work with Brazil. Okay, now, in terms of investment, in terms of trade, that's what I can tell you for the time being. The relation is not yet at the level we would like it to be, but there are possibilities, and we see new actions taking place.
How is the New Year celebrated in Brazil? Are there any interesting Brazilian traditions of New Year celebrations?
You know, the first thing to remember is that there is in Rio de Janeiro one of the biggest New Year's celebration around the world, in Copacabana Beach. It is estimated that 1.5 million people come together. It's a huge beach. And what we do there is basically what we would be doing at home. People come, they organize some tables, they bring some food, they bring some drinks. There is music. The mayor of Rio provides music, shows with several artists. So people come early, by 8, by 7 p.m., and celebrate by drinking, by eating, by listening to music. And then at midnight, there is a very big firework display. I think it lasts for more than 20 minutes. Not exaggerating. It's very big. Now, this kind of celebration, public celebration, happens in many places in Brazil. Most of the state capitals will do that. But there are also, of course, private celebrations. We can get together at home and, of course, again, have some food with friends, some drinks with friends, listen to music, and at midnight, of course, do the counting down until the new year comes, and toast, shout, embrace each other. There is really a very festive mood all around the country. People enjoy celebrating New Year's Eve. Remember that it is summertime in Brazil, which makes it very convenient for people really to either to have a public celebration or to be in their courtyard. In terms of food, in terms of drinks, there is not something special that I could say this is Brazilian. Remember that Brazil is a country that received immigrants from all over the world. So when it comes to New Year, when it comes to Christmas, what we do is what the immigrants brought to Brazil. So if in their countries of origin they ate turkey for Christmas or for New Year's Eve, okay, we will have turkey. If they make cakes, special kinds of cakes, I know the French have a very special kind of cake, so we will be doing it. And we drink wine. It's interesting because Brazil was not, until very recently, a wine drinking country. Only in the south of Brazil, but not all over the country. We prefer beer. It's summertime. Cold beer goes very well with summertime. But in Christmas and New Year's Eve, there was always wine coming from the south of Brazil or from other countries.
Could you remember an interesting story related to the New Year?
Let me tell you one story about myself. One New Year's Eve, my daughter was 8 months old. Right? We lived in Brasilia at the time, but we came to the little place, little village where my family, my mother and father, my brothers were living to spend the New Year with my family. Around 11 in the evening, 31st of December, New Year's Eve, we realized that there was not enough milk in the house for my daughter. And the following day, on the first day of the year, the shops would all be closed. So I was asked to go and try to find milk to buy. And I went out, 11:15. And I found a place. I knew there was a place open. They were there because the next day they would be closed. So I bought the milk. And when I was walking back home, I passed by a bar owned by a friend. And some of my friends were there, and they called me. And they said, we are cooking this special kind of crab that we have here. It's a nice crab, big, full of meat, delicious. So come on, have one, eat some. I said, oh, but I'm bringing the milk for my daughter. I said, oh, just leave it in the fridge here. You bought it already, so it's safe. Okay. And I started eating the crabs and drinking the beer and talking, eating, drinking, talking. And then I realized it was already the following year. So when I got home, people were waiting for me with very long faces. And I had to explain I could not pass my friends, whom I would not see very often, because I was not living there anymore. So I just stopped for a while. Well, the fact is that from that day on, I became known as the father who goes out to buy milk for his daughter and only comes back the next year. Which of course is not fair, but it's the truth.
Would you like to add something?
I'm very happy with the level of cultural exchanges that we are having with Armenia. And in spite of difficulties, any crisis, economic crisis, in the end result in less money being available for everything. But we have been able to do some cultural promotions in areas that Armenians like, such as music, cinema, and the martial art capoeira. We had a few events this year, and I'm very happy about that. And we will continue next year. Now, I'm also very happy to say that this year is a special one, 2015, because we signed an agreement with Armenia to exempt Armenians from visas for visits to Brazil as tourists or for business visits, short-term visits. And this, I think, is a good sign, a good indication, a good message. Brazilians now can also come to Armenia without a visa for short visits. I hope this will stimulate more exchanges in tourism, which is an area that I think can grow. There are interesting things in Armenia for Brazilians to see. And of course, Brazil also has lots of tourist attractions. And as I always say, visits always open the way to other exchanges. Businessmen, when they visit, they see things, they have ideas, that sort of thing. And last but not least, I think this agreement came just in time, because next year we will have the Summer Olympics and the Summer Paralympic Games in Brazil. And that will be a time when we expect to receive visitors from many countries. Armenia will have some athletes competing, and I do hope that a good number of Armenians will come to Brazil to cheer for your athletes, celebrate when they win some medals, and I'm sure they will, and then generally to get to see Brazil. So I'm very optimistic in relation to the next year also because of these new changes in our relation when we have now an open door for each other.